extremely quick thing.
Yeah.
Do you guys play Skyrim?
Yeah!
I have been forgetting for months. I have been wanting to fussroda a crowd. You want to know what I'm talking about? You don't know what I'm talking about? I will give you my Dovahkiin shout, and what I do, it'll be like a force emanates from me all the way back through the room and drives you back. And I will be awesome that way.
Would you like me to hold the camera so that you can actually be seen issuing the
hand and M. Oh wait, you gotta start recording at your leisure.
Alright, go ball.
Loose.
Sorry.
That was intense.
Hey guys, let's do a story together.
Yeah, let's do it.
This is a story that is also about gaming, and it is a different kind of gaming, a gaming I'm exceptionally bad at. This is about playing t-ball when I was a little boy. And are you all plugged into it? Everybody's ready to go? Yeah. And this is called, This is the Way I Remember It. Not that it matters, but most of this is true. When I was 6 years old, I set foot onto a t-ball diamond for the first time. I was skinny, awkward, and unsure of myself. I was basically a smaller version of the teenager and adult I'd eventually become. And I didn't have very good coordination. But my dad loved baseball. And I knew that if my dad loved it, then I loved it too. Because that's the way things work when you're 6. It was the spring of 1978, when smog alerts were as common as reality shows are today, and hazy reddish gold sunlight shone down on the field at Sunland Park. The sounds of other kids playing on the swings and in the giant rocket ship at the playground mingled with the smell of barbecue smoke as I stepped up to the plate to take my first practice swings.
Talking baseball, little Will is playing talking baseball. He's such a little slugger.
My first swing connected with the middle of the tee. The baseball, in those days of gas lines, wearing sweaters, and national malaise, we didn't have the soft, reduced injury balls my kids got to play with. It fell off and landed in the batter's box on the other side of the plate. The other kids giggled while the coach clapped his hands and shouted encouraging words to me as I picked up the ball and put it back on the tee. I looked up and saw my father's expectant face through the chain-link fence near the dugout. I slowly and deliberately lifted my bat, held it out at arm's length, and aimed at the top of the tee with one eye closed. I stuck out my tongue and furrowed my brow. I tasted sweat on the corners of my mouth and felt my heartbeat in my ears. The bat touched the ball, and it fell off. The kids giggled, the coach clapped. I replaced the ball on the tee. "Come on, Willow," my dad said. "You can do it." I took a deep breath, held the bat as tightly as I could, and I swung for the fences.
Talking baseball, everybody's watching talking baseball. It's getting a little bit awkward.
The ball sailed off the tee toward right field. I watched it go, absolutely astonished that it was in the air, just like a real baseball player. "Run to first, Will, run fast!" It was my dad excitedly hollering at me through the fence, joy in his voice. I dropped the bat and ran as fast as I could, my tracked shoes kicking up small puffs of rust-colored dust the whole way.
Talking baseball, starting to get the hang of it. Talking baseball, I'm sure this will all turn out well.
"That was great, Will," said the coach. "Okay, who's next?" I went back to the dugout and watched the other kids bat around. Most of them were more successful than I was, except for one kid named Brian, who wore glasses, had perpetual bedhead, and a nose that only stopped running when he jammed his fingers into it. Brian was last. He hit a grounder to short, and the coach gathered us together at home plate, where he told us to take a knee. I looked around uncertainly until the kid next to me kneeled down. "Oh, take a knee," I thought. I get it. Cool. I took a knee. And I looked up at him. He had the kind of beard and sunglasses you'd expect to see on a suburban Little League coach in 1978. Or Jonathan Colton today. He wore a dirty baseball jersey with yellow sleeves. "That was great, everyone," he said. "Now, we're going to hit some balls without the tee." What? The thought of a ball being thrown at me filled me with dread. Wasn't avoiding that the whole point of t-ball? I looked for my dad as I walked back to home plate. We made eye contact, and he must have seen how terrified I was. "You'll be fine, Willow," he said. He smiled. My dad was proud of me. My dad believed in me.
Baseball needs some reassurance. Baseball, don't be such a pussy.
I stepped into the batter's box and picked up my bat. I held it high, pointing it to the sky, just like my dad had shown me in our front yard. I looked at the pitcher's mound, where the coach's son, a big kid named Kenny, got ready to deliver the ball. Kenny was a year older than me and probably outweighed me by 15 pounds. He had shaggy long hair and kind of looked like a male version of Tatum O'Neal in the Bad News Bears. He began his wind-up, and I lost my nerve. I looked up at my father. "Dad, I'm scared." The ball hit me in the side of the face, just above my left cheek, with a soft smack that sounded like a gunshot inside my head. There was a collective groan from the other kids, and a few gasps from the adults. I fell to the ground, and I burst into tears.
Should have put the footage on YouTube.
My dad ran out onto the field, helped me up, and inspected my face. There wasn't any blood, and it didn't look like it was going to bruise. Like most childhood injuries, the fear was worse than the actual wound. The coach asked me if I wanted to try again. I'm sure there were kids who would have bravely stood up and tried again, but I was not one of those kids. I shook my head and hugged my dad. Kenny joined us. "I'm really sorry," he said. "It's okay," I mumbled. "I think I'm going to take him home," my dad told the coach. "Okay," he said. "We'll see you next week." When we got into the car, my dad took a closer look at my face. "You're going to be okay," he said. "We'll put some ice on you when we get home." 2 miles, 1 stoplight, and 3 stop signs separated the park from our house. By the time we got to the second stop sign, I was completely under control. My face stung a little bit, but that was it. My dad put his hand on my shoulder and he said, kindly, "You just took your eye off the ball. Next time. The whole thing flooded back to me. Kenny's wind-up, the ball speeding into me, the sound it made when it crashed into my face. I burst into tears. "I don't want to play the baseball anymore." I cried.
Baseball. Young Will sure was a crier. Baseball.
I'm sure that my father was disappointed. He played baseball from grade school all the way to college. Baseball, Dodger baseball specifically, was more than a game in my dad's family. It was religion. "Okay," he said gently. "You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Maybe you can try again next year." I didn't try again the next year, or ever. I just wasn't good at baseball. I was not going to be good at baseball. But that was okay, because my dad accepted me as the cerebral, weird, geeky kid who just wasn't that good at or interested in sports.
Well, the cats and the crows.
He respected that I wasn't competitive, and that I was happier pretending to be an elven wizard leading a group of adventurers into a dungeon to fight beholders than a kid nobody wanted on their team, standing on a baseball field hoping the ball didn't ever come anywhere near me. The most important tool a writer has is his imagination. I'm sorry, the most important tool a writer has is his imagination. And it's pretty important for actors as well. Seeing as how I support my family by doing both, I am grateful that, as a child, I was encouraged to embrace the things I loved that also happens to help my imagination develop. Because today, in my imagination, I am one hell of a baseball player. Of adoring fans in Bandland, so please give them the thunderous applause you've given to me. I have a little bit of time to take some questions from the audience before we bring Hank Green out for another delightful song. So I would like to do that. Is there, Enforcer folks, is there a microphone in the audience? Does that happen in this theater? I can't really see past the lights. I see a microphone! We have a microphone! It's coming up. Yes, there is a microphone. So, I tell you what, why don't you just make it so that I'm not the person who disappoints a lot of folks. You choose a person, and we'll go like one here, one there, one there, one there, and then we'll try to do that up and down a couple of times. So make your question short, and I'll make my answer short. Go!
Apparently it's not on. Me and my friends just wanted to make a contribution to tabletop.
Okay.
So if I can run up and give this to you.
Sure. Go ahead. All right, thank you. Next question. Hello.
Hey. Sorry, that was way louder than I was expecting.
I think it's a lot more than all of us are expecting.
As teased at Emerald City Comic Con, I have the Cape of Dicks 2.0 for you.
Please bring it forward.
in the audience who would like a photograph of the Wheaton and the Cape of Dicks, so let's do that.
Doolittle.
Squirrel! Squirrel! Pull it on!
Gail Feldman. This is magnificent. Thank you. Next question. Now you know how I feel following Hank Green.
Well, this is nowhere near as awesome, but I'm wanting to send a proposal.
Yes.
Can I get a picture of you holding a sign saying, "Will you marry this girl?"
Sure.
Awesome.
favorite episode of The Guild that you filmed? Like, what one was your favorite one to do?
My favorite episode of The Guild was the Fox and Codex go on not a date. The one where Lee shows up with the thing and it's like, and Fox is like, oh wait a minute, I'm causing strife in your guild. And the reason I love that as much as I do is that on the day that we filmed it, something in the dialogue just wasn't working. It was almost there, but not quite. And Felicia and I rehearsed the scene, we blocked the scene, and then we went downstairs where the location was, and we just sat at a table and we worked it out, sort of rewrote it together, and found the places where we needed to make the changes, and then we went up and we just did it that way. And the reason I really like that is it sort of illustrates why smaller budget productions and web video can run circles around big budget studio backed network shows. If we were on, if we had tried to do that on Eureka, we would have gone to the writers who were on the set. The writers would have gone to the associate producer in the office. The associate producer in the office would have gone to the showrunner. The showrunner would have gone to the network producers. The network producers would have gone to their bosses. And maybe 4 days later we would have gotten an answer. And it probably would have been, no, do it the way we fucking wrote it. So we were able to make a decision that made the show better in a very short amount of time. And that's just, I think it's a great example of why we're like little vipers in their base stars.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next question.
Hey, I was really excited today when we found out that Hank Green was going to be here.
I know, right?
And I didn't bring anything for you, but I made something for Hank in line. Can I give it to you to give to him?
Hank, are you back there? You want to come receive a gift?
Hello.
Hi.
Last night I found myself in a ice cream shop / arcade, and my 2.5-year-old daughter.
Whoa! Where is this ice cream shop?
A neighborhood called Full Tilt. She really wanted to play games, and that excited me. But she really wanted to play games like Street Fighter or Tekken.
And she's 2?
Yeah. So
that's appropriate, though. Like a 2-year-old can probably match those buttons just as well as an adult.
Was there anything with your kids where you wanted to encourage them to game, but you thought, not right now, or this isn't the right thing, and you felt torn or in a position like that, and sort of how did you handle that situation?
Sort of. When my kids were little, so state of the art for them was probably the Super Nintendo or Nintendo 64, and then GameCube were like the big things for them when they were growing up. When they were really little, they played my Sega Genesis, and I really liked that console, mostly because I just loved the NHL '93, and at that time where sort of like you could play Mortal Kombat on Nintendo, but you're sort of like playing like Mortal Kombat for like children. They like put the blood and the fatalities out and all that, and I was just like, don't tell me what I can play. So I became kind of a Genesis guy. So we had that in the house, and the Genesis had what was at the time a very complicated controller, and the kids just sort of struggled with that. Then we took my wife's Atari 2600 that she got for Christmas in 1977. Yeah? 77, yes. That she got in 1977, and we let the kids play that. And it was one controller and one button. And those games, those 8-bit games, sort of encourage you to use your imagination. And they want you to fill in the story, fill in what's going on, and it's very simple. And most of those games you can play without ever looking at a rule book. You can figure them out in the inside of a minute. And our kids, when they were little, loved that. And it was simple, and it was incredibly fun, and I didn't really have to worry about, you know, I don't have a problem with violence. I have a problem with consequence-free violence. And when kids are little and can't really make the distinction between, like, you know, pretend and real, I wouldn't let them play games that I thought were sort of violent. In fact, we took the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game away from them when Ryan was doing a Power Rangers move on Nolan. So, I would actually encourage you, you know, there are tons of either Atari emulators that you can get online, or you can get a Flashback or a Flashback 2 or something like that, and put your daughter, put your daughter down in front of that and see, and then watch, and inside of about a year, she'll be kicking your ass in combat. Because I want to bring Hank Green back out to give you one more song.
Okay, well, I'll make this quick. I'm turning this into another Black Altar. I have one of those books that we filled with people writing things to you to give to you again. This is from last PAX, this PAX, and Joe Cuckoo Raising too. So I'm going to turn around and give that to you in the next person.
Oh my God, thank you. Next question.
Which age of continuing scientific study to prove that it's impossible to have too many dice at the D20 for you?
Please bring it forward. Next question.
Tabletop has got to be one of my favorite web videos. So I'm going to make this really quick. What are your top 3 games that, if you're sharing on an island, that you would keep?
Oh, man.
Maybe not as
question. It would be a game with a lot of replay value that changes a lot. I would definitely take a role-playing system with me. I would take this game that exists in my imagination that is sort of like that game Mousetrap, except you use it to build. You're very excited about Mousetrap. Actually play Mousetrap? I didn't play the game, I just built the Mousetrap. But I would take a game with me that's very similar to Mousetrap that's called Transportation Back to Civilization. You build it all together and then it actually works. And of course a deck of cards.
Less of a question, more of a comment. At Acquisition Inc. yesterday, you threw your D20 into the crowd?
Yes, I did. Fuck that guy.
It bounced off the top of my head. So I don't know whether you managed to get that.
It's pretty impressive that die could hit anything. Last question, and then we're going to bring Hank Green out, and he's going to play us some more music.
If I remember right, you grew up in Southern California?
I did grow up in Southern California, the San Fernando Valley. That's right, 818 represent. It was actually 213 when I lived there. You damn kids. I'm yelling into the chair in a minute to keep me going.
As someone who grew up in Nebraska, what the hell convinced you to come to Kansas after something?
There was, I went and lived in Kansas for a little while. It was actually a very important part of gathering experience for me. It was sort of like, it was a main story quest in my life. I moved to Kansas to work for New Tech, and I helped develop the Video Toaster 4000, which was really important to me. If any of you guys here use any sort of nonlinear editing systems at all, if you use iMovie or Final Cut or anything like that, I worked on the product that is the root of that particular creative tree. And it was really important to me because we were making a disruptive technology that was fundamentally going to change the world. If we had made the Video Toaster at a time where YouTube existed, we would all be hanging out right now on my private yacht. We would have made tens of millions of dollars. As it turns out, we just were way too early. We made technology before there was distribution, and that had to happen in Kansas. It was actually really good for me because I had been an actor my whole life. I had been on a series for a really long time, and I kind of was like, I was on the way to I was getting dangerously close to the path of the douchebag because I lived in Hollywood. That's all I was around all the time. And I remember waking up every day and just not liking the person I saw in the mirror. And I thought I need to sort of go figure out what the fuck is going on with me in my life. And find, I gotta find out what matters to me. And I went to Kansas, and I worked on the video tester for a long time, and I was completely away from everything I had ever been around. And I spent about 2 years doing that, and I realized that what really matters to me is being creative and acting and writing. And I came back to Los Angeles after that, and went back to acting school, and then struggled like crazy for about 10 years, and then got really lucky, and I was kind of in the right place for all the hard work I had done to actually pay off. And I think there's a little bit of a lesson there. You know, it's not really like that thing about like wherever you go, there you are. You can't run away from yourself, but you can take yourself to a place where you're forced to really look at yourself and be honest about what you like and don't like, and then do what you need to do so that you remove the douchey things and become more awesome. And you know, for a lot of people that happens in college, and for me, it happened in Kansas. Is going to come out here and play us one more song, and then our Don't Forget to Be Awesome hour will be completed. Oh, Mr. Hank! Thank you so much for coming and being part of this today. That's, well, that was Paul. Here, let me help you.
You guys know this, but Wheaton is one of the like genuinely most sort of kind, wonderful, and sweet, inspiring, and genuinely nerdy guys in the world. I'm very honored on lots of layers to be here, so thank you very much for inviting me.
Means the world. Do you want to take one?
Thanks.
Do you want a French?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Hank Green. Thank you.
So I won't be at all offended if we head out, because after this we're just going to say goodbye and thank you all. And if you have something else to do, then if you're like, oh, I don't want to be rude, that's fine. But this song I wrote as part of the songwriting contest that Paul and Storm put on. I wish they were here so I could thank them for doing that, because those kind of contests are really great for me and really inspirational. This lost, this song, to Molly Lewis though, so it's okay. Molly Lewis fans. And the songwriting prompt, it was with Ken Plume, and the songwriting prompt was, write a happy song. And I had been thinking for a long time about writing a song about this fish that lives at the bottom of the sea. And there's so few of them at the bottom of the sea that it had to develop a really peculiar evolutionary strategy to survive. So basically the situation is that there's so little food that in order to like survive, there has to be very few of them per square kilometer. And when it's time for sex, it's hard for them to find each other at the opportune moment when all of the stars are on. Whatever it is that these fish need to get into the mood. It's fairly rare. And so the strategy they have developed is a case of extreme sexual dimorphism. So we have a sort of superficial sexual dimorphism as humans. Women have breasts, men have penises. Like we look a little different. This is extreme. So the female anglerfish looks like a fish with an angle on top of its head. Pretty cool. Giant teeth, pretty creepy looking. The male anglerfish of the deep sea, there are many species of anglerfish, not all of them use this strategy. The male anglerfish of the deep sea is born tiny, and it will never get any bigger than that. It basically is a mouth, a nose, a tail, just limbs and muscles for the tail, and some balls. And what his entire goal in life, his nose, is for sniffing out a female anglerfish. As soon as he's born, he uses all of the energy that his mother gave him. He's unable to eat. He's unable to survive in any way. All that he wants is to find a female anglerfish and bite her on the side. And, biting. To each his own. We do this as well. But what does not happen when a male human bites a female human, luckily there's not an enzyme in the female human skin that dissolves his lips. But that is what happens to the male anglerfish. Their digestive systems, or their circulatory systems fuse, and her heart takes over in feeding and keeping him alive. And they are essentially the same organism. And he becomes basically just a pair of nuts on her side. And I thought that story was so beautiful that I thought that it was a great entry for write a song about being happy. Yes, it's true that I once went through life as a guy who always had to rhyme life with strife. Yes, I've been burned and I've been spurned, and through it all, my friends, I've learned that love is not about whether you get stabbed, it's how slow the knife gets turned. It's a happy song. But my friends, I found an animal who doesn't feel this pain, and my life is so much better now that I can feel the same. Pardon me. I'm fine. Because you can't eat the night. You live your whole life without light. You can't eat the dish. You've only ever eaten fish, and you can't feel alone if it's all you've ever known. Yeah, the deep sea anglerfish has no reason to be happy, but it has a different idea what else to be. Well, the deep sea dwelling anglerfish tries to find a mate. They're always there together. What they're not, you know, on the side, and suddenly he becomes a producing parasite. He can say he lives it all, he lives until she dies, and until that day he literally never leaves her side. Oh, you can't eat the night, you live your life without light, you can't eat the dish, you've only ever eaten fish, and you can't feel alone if it's all you've ever known. Yeah, the deep sea anglerfish has no reason to be happy, but it has a different idea what else to eat. Well, for years this girl has kept me out of hopeless despair. You simply do not feel what is always there. I ask my brain to entertain that pain is the same. That if I feel it all the time, can you really call it pain? Well, I don't have any friends and I don't have any hair, but neither does the anglerfish and she doesn't care. Oh, you can't live life without light, you can't eat the dish. You ever eat fish and you can't feel alone if it's all you've ever known. Yeah, the deep sea anglerfish has no reason to be happy, but it has no freaking idea what else to be. Unabashedly enthusiastic about stuff, and I just love it. Thank you all so much for having me.